Good evening, dear students. I welcome all of you for the first session in PHE Public Health Engineering. So the first chapter is water demand, its sources and conveyance. It's a very important topic in public health engineering. So we prepared 4 groups of questions like MCQ questions, conventional questions, assignments, so that you need to practice after the explanation. Okay, and also there are practice problems that is also being solved here. Okay, I will give you the answer including actually the solution, but you need to solve these problems along with my explanation. Okay, once again, myself, Professor Rich Narendra Kumar from Civil Applied Program, would like to welcome all of you for the first session in public health engineering on water demand, its sources and conveyance. So first of all, as I said earlier, I would like to take up MCQ questions. So the first question, let me read out. Water supply includes, this is the elementary basic questions. Okay, so the first MCQ questions are elementary, or I can say basic questions. So as civil engineers, I think you can able to answer few of the questions based on your knowledge. So the first question is, water supply includes, there are 4 options given here. As I said earlier, this is MCQ. So the first option is collection, transportation and treatment of water. So collection, transportation and treatment. So the second option is distribution of water to consumers. The third is provision of hydrants for the firefighting. Okay. So if you look at actually all these 3 options, water supply includes all the 3. So you can easily say that the answer is all the above. Answer is there anyhow. So the answer D, all the above, because I am giving you the explanation also along with the answer. Water supply system includes the following, right? Like water sources, water treatment, water distribution and hydrants. Okay, so all these things constitutes the water supply system. Okay, so let me take up the second question. So this is related to the demand. On peak hourly demand, okay, please read the question 2 times, always, even in the examination. We need to understand the question properly, even though the time limit is very short, but we need to understand the questions properly. Read it twice. So peak hourly demand, what is the maximum daily consumption? What is the maximum daily consumption for the city which have average daily consumption of 1 lakh meter cube? So we need to calculate peak hourly demand. So what is the maximum daily consumption? See, why I'm stressing actually few things here, because peak hourly demand is the maximum demand required actually for a given population. Okay, so peak hourly demand, what is the maximum daily consumption, whereas average daily consumption is given in the problem as 1 lakh meter cube. There are 4 options here: 1,40,000, 1,70,000, 2 lakhs and 2,70,000. So let me give the solution in the next slide. The answer is actually 2,70,000. How to calculate? The solution is here. So as I said earlier, on peak hourly demand, maximum daily consumption, it is also called as peak demand. Okay, peak hourly demand or peak demand. So please remember this multiplying factor, 2.7 into average daily consumption. So 2.7 average daily consumption as given as 1 lakh meter cube. So the answer is 2.7 into 1 lakh, it is 2,70,000. Okay. So it's a very simple problem. Looks to be difficult, but it's only what we need to remember is this multiplying factor. Next one. Which of the following represents the value of hourly variation factor? Which of the following represents the value of hourly variation factor? So what is that factor that we need to choose? So I have given you the explanation also, because it is based on hourly variation. So maximum hourly consumption, okay, it is called as MHD, maximum hourly consumption. As I said earlier in the previous question, it is called as peak demand. Okay, in terms of liters per day, is nothing but 1.5 times, or I'm giving you in terms of percentage also, because in some of the questions they may ask actually in terms of percentage, or sometimes actually in the decimal system. Okay, so that is why I'm giving you both 1.5 or 150% into average hourly consumption of the maximum day. So these are all the terminologies that we need to understand. Average hourly consumption of the maximum day. In 1 year, so there is actually a particular hour, okay, on the maximum day, so in which we calculate average hourly consumption. So choose a maximum day. Every day is not maximum day, my dear students. A particular day is maximum day. On that particular maximum day, we need to calculate what is called as average hourly consumption, or also called as it is maximum daily demand. Okay, so 1.5 into MDD. So this is called as hourly variation factor. Okay, so the answer is 1.5. So what is the question given? What is the hourly variation factor for the peak demand? So it is 1.5. See, it looks to be a basic elementary questions, but little bit of confusions they create in your mind. Next question. Which of the following method is used to forecast the population of old and very large city? A little bit of theoretical knowledge is required for you to remember. So in order to forecast the population of old and very large city, see, you know that there are 8 to 9 population forecasting methodologies are there. Each method is having its own the advantages and disadvantages, or I can say merits and demerits. Okay, for forecasting the population of old and very large city, which method is used? So there are 4 options given: arithmetical increase method, geometric progression method, graphical method, logistical method. Okay, there are 4 options. So the answer is A, arithmetic increase method, because the explanation says this method is nothing but arithmetical increase method suitable for large and old city. Because what is the assumptions made actually in the arithmetic increase method, dp by dt, rate of change of population with time, is constant. Okay, it is almost like a simple graphical method. Okay, it's a straight line. If you draw a graph for arithmetical increase method, you will get a straight line because dp by dt is a constant value. Okay, that is the basic assumption made in this arithmetical progression method or arithmetical increase method. So this is best suitable for large and old cities because this method gives low results for developing areas which develop faster than the past. For example, it's a new city means it actually develops faster than the previous decade. So this method is of limited value for that kind of areas, may be useful for smaller design periods for old and very large cities. So it may be useful for smaller design period or for old and very large cities. You need to remember this also because in the question they can add actually this answer also, useful for smaller design period or for old and very large cities. So we need to remember. That is why I am giving you all the options for you to remember. With no industries which have practically reached their maximum development or approaching saturation limit. So that is why we say suitable for large and old cities. So the method suitable is arithmetical increase method based on the question. Next question. The population of a city in first 3 continuous years. Okay, don't get confused here because you are used to actually the decadal variations. Okay, usually you solve actually the problems based on the decade for 10 years. But here it says first 3 continuous years is given as 6,000, 8,000, 10,000 respectively. What is the population of the city in the 4th continuous year? You need to follow the same procedure. Procedure remains the same. Instead of decade, we are using actually the years. That's all. According to geometric increase method, please remember this geometric increase method. Okay. So there are 4 options given here: 11,500, 12,000, 12,870, and 14,000. So let me solve this problem in the next slide. So I prepared. See, you must be very fast actually in solving this problem. You cannot actually create a beautiful tabular column and solve this because you will get hardly 1 or 2 minutes in order to solve these problems, right? But for you to understand the problem, I'm giving you actually the complete explanation. Okay, so we need to have actually the 4 columns for the geometrical increase method. Here, population, increase in population, percentage increase in population. Because this geometrical increase method works based on the percentage increase in population. Okay, so as per the data given in the problem, 6,000 for the first year, 8,000 for the second year, 10,000 for the third year. So increase in the population, I think you are all familiar with this. 8,000 minus 6,000, so 2,000 is the first increase. 10,000 minus 8,000, 2,000 is the second increase. Okay, and similar to that, we can able to calculate the percentage increase. How to calculate the percentage increase? See, in the first year it was 6,000. Increase in the population is 2,000. So 2,000 divided by 6,000 multiplied by 100 because we are calculating percentage. Okay, there is an increase of population of 2,000 for a population of 6,000. Okay, so what is the percentage? 33%. Similarly for the next year. Once again, there is an increase of 2,000. What was the population? 8,000. So multiply by 100. So what is the percentage? 25%. So we need to calculate what is called as average value. Okay, that is represented in different books. Okay, by R or IG. You can use any notations. Okay, so don't worry too much about the notations. But here, please listen to me carefully. In the geometrical increase method, there are 2 ways of calculating the or forecasting the population. Okay, so let me take up actually the calculation first. So average is nothing but add these 2 divided by 2. There are 2 numbers. Okay, 33 plus 25. What do you mean by average? Take the mean of this. So 28.6 722. So look at this equation now. So this is the formula for geometrical increase method. It says Pn is equal to P into, this is 1, okay? 1 plus Ig divided by 100 whole to the power of n. Okay? So this Ig or R can be calculated in different ways. But I followed this because in the recent past, in the last 10 years, okay, we are following this formula for the calculation of R value, percentage increase in population. Okay, so that R value is nothing but root n R1 into R2 into R3, etc., Rn. So here, as I said earlier, there are two ways of calculating. One is nothing but arithmetical average. Please listen to me. One is arithmetical average, is nothing but add those two, divide by 2, you will get a different answer. This is geometrical average. What is that geometrical average? N square of R1 into R2 into R3. That is nothing but you need to take 33 into 25. Okay. N is nothing but here 1 because we are calculating for the next year. Okay. N value becomes 1. So if you substitute the value here, you will get actually 28.72. You can try. Okay. You can try. It's a very simple calculation. So by substituting this value in the formula, so what is P value? The last decade population 10,000 multiplied by 1 plus 28.72. The value is 28.72 divided by 100 whole to the power of n is nothing but 1. So you'll get 12,872. What is the nearest value? It is 12,870. Okay. So they may take actually 28.72 by leaving this, but I am taking actually 3 digit after point. Okay, in the problem, that too in the population forecasting problem, there will be a little bit variation in our answer with respect to the answer given in the problem statement. So we need to choose the nearest value. That's all. So next is also related to a problem. The population of a town as per census records were 2,10,000. Okay, first one is 2 lakh and next one is 2,10,000 and 2,30,000 for the year 1981, 1991 and 2001 respectively. So for each decade, they are giving us 3 different population data for a town. Find the population of the town in the year 2011 using arithmetical mean method. See, that is what I said. This method is called actually in different ways. Arithmetical increase method or arithmetical mean method or arithmetical progression method. All are one and the same. Okay. There is no change actually in the methodology. Only the nomenclature is different. So there are 4 answers given in this problem. 2,50,000, first one. Second one is 2,55,000. Third is 2,40,000. And the fourth is 2,45,000. So once again, as I said earlier, I am giving you the complete solution for this problem. So I prepared once again the tabular column for the arithmetical mean method. So 81, 91 and 2001. Respectively, the population is 2 lakh, 2,10,000, 2,30,000. I think you are all now familiar with this calculation. Is nothing but increase in population in the successive decade. So 2,10,000 minus 2 lakh is 10,000. Simple calculation. Okay. So you can do it. See, try to avoid calculators. Don't try to put actually 2,10,000 minus 2 lakh because it consumes time. By looking at actually the value, you can easily say 10,000, right? So because here there are so many zeros. If you miss 1 zero, you are lost. So that is why if you can able to calculate on your own without the help of calculator is required and it is allowed also. But you need to actually understand that the time constraint for each and every question. So next is 2,30,000 minus 2,10,000. It is 20,000. So what is the average? Add those two, divide by 2. So 15,000. So what is the formula for arithmetical increase method? Pn is equal to P plus NIA. So this is IA value. So what is P? The last decade population, 2,30,000. Okay. So here N is nothing but 2011 minus 2001. So we need to calculate actually P 2011, right? So divide by 10. So the N value is only 1 decade. So it's a very simple calculation. So 2,45,000. So look back and identify the answer. So the answer is D, 2,45,000. So the next is also a problem, but we need to solve this problem using geometrical mean method. Okay. Let me read out the problem statement first. The population of a town as per census records were 2,10,000, 2,30,000 for 81, 91, 2001 respectively. The population of the town as per geometric mean method or geometric progression method or geometrical increase method for the year 2009. So you must be very careful. This question is really good because we are used to forecast the population for successive decade, and our formula is also created in such a way that we can able to calculate. For example, the last decade is 2001, so we can able to calculate 2011 easily. But here we need to actually forecast the population in the year 2009. I will tell you how to do that. Okay. So the answers are 2,77,872 and 2,45,872, 2,46,820, and none of the above. So there are 4 options. So let me look into the solution now. So don't go to the answer first. See the tabular column. So first of all, whatever the data given in the problem statement is systematically written actually in this tabular column. So here population 81, 2 lakh, 91, 2,10,000, 2001, 2,30,000. So in order to calculate percentage increase in population, this is mandated, right? Increase in population. Without this, you cannot go here. So what is the increase in population? 10,000. So next one is 20,000. Now look at actually the percentage increase in population calculation. It was 2 lakh increased by an amount of 10,000. What is the percentage? It is 5%. Similarly, 2,10,000 was the population. What is the increase? 20,000. So it is 9.52. So once again, use this formula to calculate the R value. So here nth root of R1 into R2 into R3 etc. Rn. This is the formula for the calculation of R value here. Okay, average value. So here, what is that N value? 2009 minus 2001 divided by 10. So it is 0.8 value. N value is number of decades. It is 0.8. Okay, you must be very careful. You need to actually use this 0.8 in order to calculate the value of R. So after the calculation of value of R here, so I am going to substitute the value of R in the formula. Pn equals P into 1 plus Ig divided by 100 whole to the power of n. Okay. So 2,30,000, 1 plus 6.899 divided by 100 whole to the power of n. So it is equal to 2,42,609. This is the exact value. That is why I said this is not available in the answer statement. But we should not get frustrated after looking at the option. We need to actually look at the nearest value, 2,45,872, because as I said earlier, there are several ways of solving this problem. Okay, one is nothing but here the value of R is calculated based on the geometrical mean. You can also calculate actually the value of R in terms of IG using arithmetical average. Okay, but in recent past, okay, in the last 10 years, we are using the geometrical average in order to calculate the R value. Okay, my dear students. So don't think otherwise the answer is wrong. Okay, we need to choose actually the nearest value, because here the number of digits that you are going to consider after point is also one of the factor. So the next question, which department looks after the execution and maintenance of water supply and sanitary works? This is one of the requirement. Okay, in the examination, the requirement of the candidate is they should have some general knowledge with respect to how the system works. Okay, which department looks after the execution and maintenance of water supply and sanitary works? Okay, these are all the elementary things a civil engineer has to know or remember. Okay, is it public works department or social welfare department or public health department? And none of these. So let me take up the answer slide. So the answer is public health department. C is the option. So I'm giving you the explanation also. What actually the public health department job is? It looks after the execution and maintenance of water supply sanitary works. Not only supports ministry in policy formulation, but also hand out states by way of technical advice, guidelines, scrutiny. I'm giving you more information, my dear students, so that you need to remember actually what are all the responsibilities of the public health department, because they may add, you cannot expect the same question in the examination. They may add whatever that is there in my explanation also. It deals with matters related to urban water supply and sanitation, including solid waste management in the country. Okay, public health department also takes care of the solid waste management, because everything related to public health. For example, in your public health engineering, even solid waste management is there, air pollution is also there. Okay. Any doubts, my dear students? You can ask me, you can stop me at any point of time, or you can, there is a meeting chat, you can put your question here. Shall I continue? Okay, thank you very much. So, reciprocation is important. See, it must be a two-way traffic. It should not be a single way traffic. Okay. If there is anything, actually, I am seeing your meeting chart. Okay. If there is anything, you can actually place whatever the questions or anything related to my explanation. Okay. The next question. And also, I forgot to tell you actually in the beginning of my session, you need to keep a notebook and a pen along with a calculator, because you need to work out the problem along with me. Okay. Then only actually you will understand. Otherwise, let me tell you, after my session is over, you will forget. So wherever theory is not required, at least the problem, okay, you need to work those problems using the calculator. Okay, always keep a notebook and a pen with a calculator. Yes, calculate the population by the end of 2011 by the arithmetical increase method. Okay, so there is a tabula column given directly in the problem statement. 51, 61, 71 and 81, 1 lakh, 1 lakh 9,000, 1 lakh 16,000, 1 lakh 28,000. So there are four options as usual. 1 lakh 36,000 is the first option. Second is 1 lakh 56,000, 1 lakh 46,000, 1 lakh 26,000. Okay. So we are all familiar with the arithmetical increase method calculations. So we need to create 3 column. So 51, 61, 71, 81. And this is 1 lakh, 1 lakh 9,000, 1 lakh 16,000, 1 lakh 28,000. You must be very careful while noting down actually the values, because it is pure mathematics. There is any mistake in copying, then the whole solution is wrong. Okay, for example, instead of 1 lakh 16,000, if I write 1 lakh 15,000, everything is gone. Now you won't get the answer. So you'll be in a set, or otherwise you'll put some options. Since you are not getting the answer, what we are going to do? We'll put actually some other answers. So how to calculate the increase in population? Very simple. This minus this. For every decade, what is the increase in population? 9,000. Okay. Similarly, the second one is 7,000. This minus this. I think you are following. Okay. You need to take the difference between these two successive. Similarly, this one 1,28,000 minus 1,16,000. It is 12,000. So if you add all the three, it is 28. 12 plus 7, 19. 19 plus 9, 28. Also 28,000 divided by 3. So the average value is 9,333.33. Okay. So I'm going to make use of this in this formula, arithmetical increase method. So 1,28,000 last ticket population. So how to calculate here? So we need to calculate P 2011, right? So 2011 minus 1981 divided by 100. So it is 3 decades. What is N actually here? It is number of decades. Please remember. Okay, number of decades. So 3 is the value of N. So 1,28,000 into 3 plus 3 into 9,333.33. So you'll get exact 1,56,000. Answer is there. So if you remove this, you will get a slightly different value. 1,55,999. Okay. So that is why I said actually in the beginning, you need to choose the nearest value. For example, usually what we do in the normal way, we'll try to avoid the values after point, because 0.33 is not having any value. Is there any person with half body or 0.25 body? No. But in the mathematical calculation, what we are going to do is, we are going to extract the same value with the decimal system also, and we will calculate the final value. So this value should be a whole number. That is the concept. So the answer is B, 1,56,000. Next one. Identify the method for the forecast of population of a town wherein the percentage increase in population from the decade to decade is assumed to remain constant. So the answer is there already. Can anybody tell me the answer for this question? It is a theoretical question. Anyhow, answer is there with you. Question bank itself is there with you. Okay, but don't look at the question bank by using your previous experience, because I already explained actually the methodologies for the arithmetical increase method and geometrical increase method. Could you please tell me, any one of you, place the answer for this question? Okay, once again, I am going to highlight percentage increase. Where exactly we are going to make use of percentage increase in population calculation? Percentage increase, please do remember. Percentage increase. My dear students, you are not following me. You are not with me. Percentage increase. Okay. So I am giving you, that is why for each and every question I am giving you the explanation, because we just now solved a problem on the geometrical increase method. I created one tabular column. What it says? Percentage increase in population for every decade. So the whole methodology, that is geometrical increase method, assumes percentage increase in population from decade to decade is constant. What is actually the arithmetical increase method? Average increase in population. Whereas what is geometrical increase method? It is based on percentage increase in population. Please do remember, the answer is A, Okay, don't be in a hurry. Read it twice and understand the concept and choose the right answer. So what are all the other highlights of this method? Gives high results for young cities, expanding at faster rate. Useful for old developed cities. Usually the geometrical increase method gives us actually very large value. Okay, for example, if you choose the three methods like arithmetical increase method, geometrical increase method and incremental increase method, usually, not always, usually the geometrical increase method gives very high results. Okay, so while choosing the geometrical increase method, we need to actually think twice. We need to understand the importance of this methodology. Since this method gives high values, hence should be applied for a new industrial town at the beginning of development for only few decades. Once it is developed, then you must be very, very careful while using this. Always, when you are using geometrical increase method for the forecasting the population, you need to forecast the population using other methodologies also. Okay. So we got the answer, geometrical increase method. Why? Because it is percentage increase in population that is being taken care of. Next one. Okay. So I completed all the MCQ questions. Now the assignment questions. Actually, this we created assignment questions for you to take care. But I am giving you the, because this is the first session, I am giving you the explanation even for the assignment question. So the first one, the multiplying factor as applied to obtain the peak hourly demand. So you must be very careful when it says peak hourly demand, because peak hourly demand is the maximum demand that you can able to consider in relation to the maximum daily demand. He is asking actually what is the relationship between maximum daily demand and peak hourly demand. And also, if you look at actually this question, there is one data which is very, very important in this question, that is per hour. Because we are going to express actually this maximum daily demand in terms of per hour, okay, or per day. But he is asking us actually in terms of per hour, because there is a demand, we say maximum daily demand of the maximum day, or maximum hourly demand of the maximum day. As I said earlier, there is a maximum day already. In that, actually, we need to choose the maximum hourly demand. Okay, that is what is called as peak demand is all about. So they are asking us, what is that multiplying factor? These are all the theory questions that you need to remember. So I am giving you a little bit of explanation. The answer is 1.5. Maximum hourly consumption. As I said earlier in my the MCQ, okay, it is also called as peak demand. So the multiplying factor is 1.5 into MDD, or average hourly consumption of the maximum day. See, there are two names given for MDD. Maximum daily demand is one name, other one is average hourly consumption of the maximum day. So if you consider average hourly consumption multiplied by 24, then it becomes maximum daily demand. Okay, so this is nothing but memory. You need to keep everything in your memory. Okay, maximum hourly demand or peak demand is equal to 1.5. So here the multiplying factor is 1.5. Okay. So there is one question actually in one of the paper. Decrease in per capita consumption occurs. Decrease in per capita consumption occurs by, there are four options: useful of metering system, hot climate, good quality water in supplies, all of the above. Once again, I would like to involve you people for this theory question. Okay, not as engineers, you just think actually in a normal way. So per capita consumption will decrease when you are going to make use of metering system, or is it in hot climate, or is it in good quality water if it is supplied, or all of the above. So which option is the right option for this question? Once again, please don't look at actually the question bank. Give me the answer. Let me check. Be fair. Try to identify the answer. Because when you identify the right answer, you will get confidence. Right? Okay, any takers? For example, if you look at actually as a layperson, hot climate. In the summer season, is there any decrease in the per capita consumption? No way. If I supply good quality water, then will there be any decrease in per capita consumption? No. Because if the quality is good, people will consume more. So when there is a metering system, what is that metering system? Because you are going to charge based on the consumption. So what we are going to do, even in the electricity or in the water supply, when there is a meter, we'll try to consume less. Very simple answer. Okay. Use of metering system is the right answer. Usually, our perception is in any of the question, if all of the above or none of the above is there, we'll try to identify that answer. All of the above. Oh, maybe all of the above is right. If none of the above is there, oh, none of the above may be right. That's not the concept. Please read it, because this option, they will simply create all of the above. They will create actually doubts in your mind. Okay. So as I said earlier, use of metering system decreases actually the per capita demand. So installation of the metered system. I think in every house in our Bangalore city, we have this meter system, so that based on the consumption, for example, in my house, I am consuming anywhere between 20,000 to 25,000 liters per month. So based on that, I will be charged. So I am going to keep an eye on the consumption, because when it is greater than 25,000, I need to pay more. So as the public becomes more cautious towards their water bill expenditure, isn't it? If I consume more than 25,000, then the tariff will be different. I need to pay more. Similarly, in the electricity. So that is why we will keep an eye on the consumption. With an increase in the quality of water, water consumption increases as the public would consume lesser water if the quality of water is deteriorated. If the quality of water is less, then we'll consume less. But that should not be the option. Don't, as the engineers working in the department, don't try to select this. Okay, let us give a lesser quality water so that people will consume less. That should not be the attitude of a civil engineer. The quality, what is the quality expectation in water supply engineering? Potable and palatable and wholesome. These three are very, very important. So the next question is ratio of the maximum daily consumption to the average daily demand. I think you can able to give me the answer. There are four options: 1.2, 1.5, 1.8, and 2.7. Any takers at least for this question? Because this is the first thing that we learn actually in the variation in water demand. MDD is equal to dash into ADD. Maximum daily demand is equal to dash into ADD. Okay, please respond, because this is, even though online, we need to reciprocate. Okay. So everybody knows it is actually 1.8. This is what we do as per the codal provision. There is a separate code for this. It says in order to calculate maximum daily demand, okay, that is called as MDD is equal to 1.8 times of average daily demand. So the answer is 1.8. So if you look at the next question, once again, it is a simple problem. If the population of a city is 2 lakh, so 2 lakh is the population, and average water consumption is 200 LPCD. So 2 lakh and 200 LPCD. Then the capacity of the pipe mines should be, what is the capacity of the pipe mine? So we need to remember the impact of variation of the demand on the capacity calculation, starting from the intake structure, pipe mines, distribution reservoir, and so on and so forth. Each and everything is having its own way of calculation. Okay, so you need to remember those thumb rules for the calculation. So the pipe mines carrying the water from the intake to the treatment plant and then to the service reservoir. So there are two types of pipe mines. One carries actually raw water from the intake to the treatment plant, okay, before treatment, after treatment to the service reservoir. So that pipe mine may be designed for MDD. So usually pipelines will be designed for MDD. Required capacity is nothing but MDD. So what is the requirement in this problem? First of all, I need to remember that the pipelines will be designed for MDD. Then I need to remember that how to calculate MDD based on the data given in the problem. So there are two ways. Okay, two steps. First thing is, what is the requirement for the design of a pipeline? Maximum daily demand. And how to calculate maximum daily demand? So maximum daily demand, just now we got the information, it is nothing but 180% of annual average daily draft or demand. So 1.8 annual average daily demand is nothing but 2 lakh population, 200 is the consumption. Multiply by the factor is 1.8. So if you multiply these three, you will get 72 MLD. Okay. So what is the required capacity? Is nothing but MDD. What is the value of MDD? It is 72 MLD. Choose the right answer. Answer is B. That is 72 MLD. See, our problems are very simple problems, basically. Okay. In public health engineering, except the design problems, like in our sedimentation design or filtration design, okay, in the demand calculation, the calculations are very simple. It's simple multiplication. The purpose of best managed water work. What is the purpose of best managed water works? Reducing pressure of water. Is it the purpose? Increasing quality of water. Reducing blockage problem. Reducing losses. This is, I feel actually one of the best question I come across, because if you look at, actually looks to be, there are different answers. Okay. Purpose of best managed, sometimes we used to think actually, yeah, increasing quality of water is also one of the purpose of the best managed water, is it not? Reducing blockage, there should not be any blockage in the distribution system. Reducing pressure is not the best. Okay. So there are issues in our mind. Is it option B or option C or option D, reducing losses? But if you look at actually the best managed water work, not only in our country, even in Western countries, always they say reducing the losses is the main purpose, of best managed water works, reducing losses. Because in our country, maybe a water supply scheme or the distribution of the electricity, whereas the loss is in terms of 35 to 40%. So that means to say, if 100 liters of water is supplied from the source, only 60 liters is reaching the consumers, whereas 40% is simply goes as waste. So I can tell you that ours is not the best managed the water supply schemes. So what is the purpose of best managed scheme? Reduce water losses, keep water infrastructure operating in peak condition. Important, very, very important purpose is reduce water losses. Okay, please do remember, my dear students, because as I said earlier, the percentage amounts to be around 35 to 40%. And if you are Bangalorean, wherever you look at, actually, there will be a leakage in your locality. There will be a leakage. Without leakage, we don't know how to work actually our distribution network system. Because Bangalore city is having water distribution system in many localities that are 35 to 40 years old. It cannot take up actually the present load, and also the pipes are provided below the ground level. They are corroded, and always there will be a problem in the water leakage. So the replacement is a very difficult proposition for the BWSSB, that is Bangalore Water Supply and Sewerage Board. So it is almost impossible in some of the localities, because it's my own experience. Let me share my experience also. Once actually we faced a similar kind of problem. There was a blockage. They could not identify actually our pipeline. They don't know where it is, because there are several pipelines that are running actually below the road level. So they don't know actually, because there is no plan at all. Okay, for example, where I am teaching now, it's a Vijay Nagar area. Okay, very old age. The pipelines are provided 30 or 40 years. In the year 1980 or 1990. So it has to be replaced. But replacement is very, very costly. So what is the answer for this? Reduce the losses. That is the best managed water supply schemes. So next one is the shape of graph of population against time plotted according to the arithmetical increase method. So for that, a little bit of mathematics is a little bit of mathematics. What is the assumption made in the arithmetical increase method? dP by dt is equal to a constant. What is that? Rate of change of population with the time is a constant value. Okay, if I write, okay, let me write it. dP by dt is a constant value. So what it says, this equation is nothing but one of the equation for a straight line. Very simple. So if you are good at mathematics, okay, you can easily answer this. So you need to identify the answer. Straight line is there. It is not hyperbola. It is not parabola. It is not S-type graph, because S-type graph is for logistic curve method. So a straight line. So that is why I said in the beginning, please remember my words. The arithmetical increase method and simple graphical method, okay, is based on the same assumption. Because even in the simple graphical method, okay, we are going to plot a straight line, assuming that the rate of change of population with the time is constant. The same assumption is made actually even in the arithmetical increase method. That is a graphical representation, but this is a mathematical representation. That's all the difference, right? See the answer? Straight line. Answer is C. In this method, the average increase in population per decade is calculated from the past census reports, and assume that the population is increasing at constant rate. So here I am giving you even the equation also. dP by dt is equal to a constant. What is that? Equation of a straight line. One of the equation. Okay, there are several equations for the straight line. This is one of the equation. Differential equation for the straight line. dP by dt is equal to constant. So rate of change of population with respect to time is a constant value. Any doubts you can ask me now? Shall I continue? Is it okay? Okay, next one is conventional questions. We have chosen conventional questions also. And I'm going to work out actually some, I won't say complex problem, lengthy problems in population forecasting. So this is one of the problem. Population of 5 decades from 1930 to 1970 is given in the tabular column. So find out the population after 1, 2, and 3 decades beyond the last known decade by using incremental increase method. So we need to choose actually the incremental increase method. So I'm going to teach actually in detailed way. So the table is given here: 30, 40, 50, 60, 70. Population accordingly 25,000, 28,000, 34,000, 42,000, 47,000. Okay, this is the data. We need to use actually what is called as incremental increase method. Okay, so this is the calculation required for incremental increase. So I need to have actually the 4 columns. So the first 2 columns, you know that this is year and population. So we need to copy whatever that is there in the problem statement. So 30, 40, 50, 60 and 70, and accordingly the population. Okay, and afterwards, in order to calculate actually the population or forecast the population using incremental increase method, I need to first of all calculate increase per decade. Okay, this is required actually in the arithmetical increase method as well as in the incremental increase method as well as in the geometrical increase method. This column is mandatory. So increase per decade 3,000 for the first, 6,000 for the second, 8,000 for the third, and 5,000. Is nothing but 28,000 minus 25,000, 34,000 minus 28,000, 42,000 minus 34,000, and 47,000 minus 42,000. So all are positive values. So you must be very careful here. And you know the problems are taken directly from the question paper. I'm getting actually all these positive values. You may get even actually the negative values also. You must be very careful. Don't try to assume actually always you'll get a positive value. No, sometimes you'll get negative also. So if it is increasing, write positive. If it is decreasing, write negative. Okay. Incremental increase. What is that incremental increase? First of all, we need to understand before going for the calculation. Increase on the increase. So there is an increase per decade. What is the increase on the increase in the successive decade? Okay, let me check. So it was 3,000. Next, 6,000. What is the incremental increase? 3,000. That is 6,000 minus 3,000. For the next one, 8,000, and this is 6,000. What is the increase? 2,000. I am writing positive values because this incremental increase method is based on the assumption that it increases, increase on increase. If it decreases, then you need to write a negative value. So the next one, 5,000 minus 8,000. So you'll get a negative value. You must be very careful. Don't try to actually write the values only without the signs. So that is why I'm writing actually these signs here. The first 2 values are positive values. The third is negative value because increase per decade decreased here. It was 8,000. The next decade, 5,000 increase. Okay. So incremental is minus 3,000. So if you take the average, so 3,000 plus 2,000, 5,000 minus 3,000, it is 2,000. Okay. So here you need to calculate the average value. So please calculate the average value using your calculator. This is where I said actually this divided by 3. Okay. So let me take up the answer also. If you look at the answer, so if you divide this at 2,000 by 3, so you'll get actually somewhere around 6,000. I'm sorry, 666. Okay. So you need to make use of actually this value. So just make some corrections here. So this will be 666, and this is 666, and this is 666. Okay, because this is nothing but the average value. Okay, you will get 666 here. So the same thing. Well, let me once again. There are 2 equations in the incremental increase, my dear student. Please understand. Okay, there are 2 equations. One is nothing but there is a direct formula. Pn is equal to P naught plus Nia plus n into n plus 1 divided by 2 into Ii. Okay, this is one of the formula. In the recent past, we are using the formula for the calculation. The other way around is for each decade, we need to add actually the previous decade, the population plus Ia plus Ii. But in the recent, as I said earlier, in the last decade, Okay, they are giving us actually the formula for the calculation. So if you calculate this, you will get somewhere around 53,000. Please check 167. There may be some differences, okay, little bit differences, and 60,000 001, and this one 67,502. So answer is there in your question bank. Okay, so this is nothing but the average value 666. So use this equation. Once again, let me explain. P naught is the previous decade population, N is the number of decade, IA is nothing but this value, average increase per decade, N into N plus 1 divided by 2 into II. II is nothing but 666. So if you calculate actually for successive decade for 1980, after 1970, 1980, 1990 and 2000. So you'll get answers 53,167, 60,001 and 67,502. Okay, so there may be a little bit variation. Okay, because this is nothing but the conventional questions. Okay, there is no MCQ here. This is conventional questions. Simply we added actually 2 questions as conventional questions for you to understand the concept. Okay, next one is once again the saturation population. In 2 periods of each of 20 years, I don't know how many of you still remember your population forecasting methods. That is nothing but logistic curve method or logistic curve method. A town has grown from 40,000 to 1,60,000 and then to 2,80,000. The saturation population is question mark. Okay, there is no MCQ. Once again, this is a conventional question. We need to solve systematically. First of all, we need to actually write this in a proper way. Okay, we need to incorporate the problem statement in this way. I created a data capturing here using logistic curve method. Why logistic curve method, my dear students? Because saturation population can be calculated only using logistic curve method. There is no other forecasting methodology gives us the saturation population. You got it? Only the logistic curve method gives us the saturation population. So we identify the first is as P naught, the second one as P1, third as P2, and accordingly we copy 40,000, 1,60,000, 2,80,000, and we capture the time frame as T naught is 0, T1 is 20, because for every 20 years, okay, you must be very careful for every 20 years. So T2 is 40. But here, this is not useful for us. Only this is useful because in the calculation of saturation population, this is the formula for the saturation population. Okay, using this equation, we can able to calculate saturation population. So PS is equal to 2P naught P1 P2 minus P1 square into P naught plus P2 divided by P naught P2 minus P1 square. This you need to remember. That's the only option. So you need to substitute all these P naught, P1, P2 in this equation. My experience is, okay, most of the time, 60% of the time, even actually students knows the equation and knows how to substitute these values in the equation, they won't get the right answer due to wrong calculation using the calculator. So you must actually check at least 2 times for this kind of problem. So the PS value is 3,20,000 saturation population. I myself actually checked the answer 3 times. Okay, you can ask me, sir, so much of time is not available. Yes, you are true. For this kind of problem, it requires more time because we need to substitute and also calculate in a proper way not to get the right answer. Okay, once again, practice questions. This is actually for you to study. So what is average rate of water consumption per head per day as per Indian standard? Average rate of water consumption per head per day as per Indian standard. Four options are there: 100 liters, 135 liters, 165 liters, 200 liters. Okay, I am giving you more information here, even though it's a straightforward question. So on an average domestic consumption under normal condition in Indian city is expected to be around 135 liters per day per person as per IS 1172 1993. This code gives us actually the value of average domestic consumption under normal condition in Indian city as 135 liters per day per person. And also it says, if you are actually having flushing systems in your washroom, you know that flushing system? When you flush actually, I am talking about 30 years back. When you flush actually once your commode, you are going to make use of 15 liters. It was like a bucket. The olden commode was having something like a bucket over that. So for every flushing, we require 15 liters. Now, efficient water usage systems are available in which the amount of water usage per usage is 3 to 5 liters. Okay, they increase to 200 liters when these washrooms, commodes are fitted with flushing systems. Okay, but basically for average domestic consumption, still it remains 135. The total water demand may be taken as, see, this is the ambiguity, total water demand. What is the total water demand that he is talking about? It is nothing but per capita demand. See, they are going to see, that is why, because if you look at actually the references, okay, this always, all the references says per capita demand, but in one of the references it says total water demand. There was a book actually, now I don't know, and people are using Rangawala book for water supply engineering. He used actually this particular terminology, total water demand, instead of per capita demand. So we need to understand what is that actually total water demand. Total water demand is nothing but per capita demand. Everybody knows actually the value of per capita demand, right? So as per the Indian Standard Code of Practice, the total water consumption per capita per day, it includes domestic, commercial, industrial, for average Indian city may be taken as 270 liters per capita per day. We say LPCD or liters per capita per day. This can also be written as LPCD. Okay, it includes everything. Once again, it varies from 270 to 330. Once again, why that 330? Just now I said that flushing system. So if all the commodes are provided flushing system, there will be an increase of 60 liters. Okay, total water consumption including domestic, commercial and industrial demand for our, see, the same question can be asked in a different way. Okay, there is not much difference between the second question and the third question. Answer remains the same, 270 liters per capita per day. Next one. The distribution system in water supply is designed on the basis of, okay, average daily demand or peak hourly demand, coincident draft, greater of B and C. Okay, there is a separate calculation for this. See, the distribution network system is generally designed for the maximum hourly demand of the maximum day. Please read it properly. Maximum hourly demand of maximum day or coincident draft, whichever is more. So the answer is the greater of B and C. Greater of B and C. B is maximum hourly demand of maximum day. C is coincident draft. So whichever is more. So first of all, we calculate this. Okay, and we calculate this. So whichever is more is taken for the design of distribution system. That is nothing but the capacity of our distribution system. If you want, I can give more explanation also. The assumption made here is nothing but, if you add actually the fire demand for this, okay, the total quantity required is too huge. It's nothing but it assumes that the fire will not happen when people are consuming at a maximum hourly demand. That is the basis. So that is why they take maximum hourly demand of the maximum day. Once again, that is the peak demand. Okay, beyond which the consumption will never increase. That is the peak demand, because it consumes actually maximum hourly demand of the maximum day. Once again, what is that? Please understand this concept. Maximum day consumption. In that maximum day consumption, maximum hourly demand. That is nothing but the peak demand whatsoever for a given city, or coincident demand. Is nothing but when you add actually MDD plus FD, it is nothing but coincident demand. Okay, but I cannot add actually the FD for MHD for the calculation. So that is why we calculate like this: MHD of the maximum day or CD, whichever is more. That is greater of B and C. Next one. Once again, total water requirement of a city is generally assessed on the basis of maximum hourly demand, maximum daily demand plus fire demand, average daily demand plus fire demand, greater of A and B. So the previous question, first one is maximum hourly demand, as I said earlier. Okay, is nothing but we say MHD, maximum hourly demand. Okay, next one is MDD plus FD. We never add FD for MHD, because fire demand and MHD, if I add, that becomes a huge quantity, difficult for me to manage. So that is why they have taken actually these two into consideration. So greater of A and B. So they calculate MHD and also MDD plus FD. Whichever is more, we are going to consider that as the total water requirement. So the answer is D, greater of A and B. The same question can be asked actually in different ways. For which of the following distribution means is designed? Okay, once again, distribution means how they are going to design. Average daily demand, annual peak demand, monthly peak demand, maximum hourly demand, on maximum day. Just now we got the answer. Maximum hourly demand on maximum day is considered for designing the distribution system. Okay, here little bit of memory. No calculation, only memory. You need to remember actually, you know that there are various equations or formula for the calculation of fire demand. You need to remember the formula along with their name. Freeman formula for estimating the fire demand in liters per minute is given by, there are 4 options. First of all, I need to remember what is that Freeman formula. Answer is there in the next slide. Giving you the explanation, little bit of explanation. Is answer C. Q is equal to 1136 P divided by 5 plus 10. Here, only for more information, this Q is in terms of liters per minute. Please do remember this. Because if the same question, if it appears as a numerical problem, you need to know actually how to substitute that value. Okay, so here quantity of water in terms of liters per minute, population in terms of 1000. So, for example, if the population is 1 lakh, what is that value in terms of 1000? 100,000. So, you must be very careful in the substitution. First of all, you need to convert the quantity in terms of liters per minute and population in terms of 1000. And also, you need to remember the formula, Freeman formula. Next one. The ratio between peak hourly water demand and maximum daily demand. Okay, per hour, of course. See, that is why safely they add actually this particular terminology in the question. Per hour, of course. So, per hour basis, you need to calculate maximum daily demand on the hourly basis. Okay. So as you know, it is nothing but maximum hourly consumption, or it is also called as peak hourly demand. So it is 1.5. Please do remember this, 1.5 times of MDD. So you must be very careful. This terminology, MDD, maximum daily demand. Next one, the formula Pn is equal to P into 1 plus R by 100 rolled to the power of n is used for forecasting your population. At least give me the answer for this. Okay, the formula is it for arithmetical increase method, my dear students, or geometrical increase method, or incremental or graphical method? At least you can give me the answer. Just now we solved actually several problems using this formula. Yes, that's all. See, if you attend the classes, I think 95% you can able to answer, except one or two problems you can commit actually mistake, but rest of the things you can able to remember. So geometrical increase method, the formula is here. I don't think so any explanation is required for this. Which of the following causes a decrease in per capita consumption? Which of the following causes a decrease in per capita consumption? I think you need to give me the answer for this question also, because we already solved this type of question in the MCQ. What causes decrease in per capita consumption? Easy. Please attempt. Is it use of metering system, or good quality, better standard, or hotter climate? Yes, use of metering system. As I said earlier, my own example, if there is a metering system, I will consume less. So installation of a meter system, public becomes more cautious towards their water bill expenditure. So automatically per capita demand decreases. So next one, as compared to the geometrical increase method of forecasting population, the arithmetical increase method gives lesser value, higher value, equal value, or may vary as it may depend on the population figure. See, if you concentrate on my explanation, already given the answer for this particular question. With respect to geometrical increase method, I said one thing. It always gives what? Anybody? Without looking at the question back, give me the answer. Compare and contrast geometrical increase and arithmetical increase. So I've given you actually it's a detailed description. Lesser value. Usually arithmetical increase method for population forecasting generally gives lower value than the geometrical increase method. Because in the geometrical increase method, please do remember the assumption made here. What is that assumption made in the geometrical increase method? Percentage increase. What is the assumption made in the arithmetical increase? It is average increase. So always percentage increase is much greater than the average increase. So that is why arithmetical increase method gives actually the lesser value. So census record indicated that the current population of a city as 60,000, population 10 years ago as 55,000, population 20 years ago as 50,000, population 30 years ago as 45,000. What would be the probable population after 2 decades? That is after 20 years, when calculated using arithmetical increase method. So this problem looks to be a big problem, a mega problem. But answer is there in the problem statement. It's one of the direct problem that I ever come across actually in forecasting the population. Directly looking at the problem statement itself, I can easily choose the answer. See here, what actually the arithmetical increase method says? It is nothing but increase per decade, right? So it was 45,000 30 years ago. 20 years ago, 50,000. What is the increase? 5,000. Next, 50,000 to 55,000. What is the What is the increase? 5,000. 55,000 to 60,000. What is the increase? 5,000. So what is the average increase? 5,000. Right? So 20 years, 2 decades. So it was 60,000. Next 1 decade, 65,000. Another decade, 70,000. So directly I can choose. I never worked on the problem statement. Sometimes actually the answer is there in the problem statement itself. Okay. But when you look at actually the problem statement, you'll think, what is this problem? It's maybe a difficult problem. Not at all difficult. Okay. You don't require even 1 minute time for solving this problem. So that is why I'm giving you the answer in 2 lines. What is the average increase per decade? It is 5,000. Okay. After 2 decades. Okay. For the first decade, 65,000. For the second decade, 70,000. If you want, you can work actually this problem in using the tabular column. Do it. But time consuming. Time is precious, my dear students. Right? Next one is population of a city in 3 consecutive years are 10,000, 12,000, 15,600 respectively. The population of the city in the 4th consecutive year as per geometrical increase method is, there are 3 options and none of the above. Okay, I solved. I left actually the solution for you. I calculate the correct answer, that is 19,420. Deliberately, I am not giving you the answer, complete answer, but I am giving the correct answer, not the complete solution. But this answer is not there in the choice. So that is none of the above. Okay, but you need to solve this problem on your own using the tabular column. So factors affecting prediction of future population of a city. So this is the introduction for forecasting the population. If you look at actually any book, a textbook on the water supply engineering and population forecasting, the first sentence given actually in any textbook on population forecasting is the same sentence. Okay, the same thing is being copied actually in one of the paper. Factor affecting prediction of future population of a city. So you can easily answer this. The number of births is one of the factor. Death, yes. Migration. So the answer is all the above. See, sometimes the answers are very simple. But the birth is increased by birth. Okay. Increased by birth, decreased by death, increased or decreased by migration. But in the options, they are giving us only the birth, death, and migration. That is why we are choosing all the above. So you need to, that is why I said in the beginning, in the first question, read the options at least twice before choosing. Next one, as per the Buston's formula, 5 demand in liters per minute for a population of P in thousands is given by. So you need to remember, this is only memory, checking your memory. Okay, 5663 root P is the Buston formula. Sometimes they say Burton formula, that's okay. In most of the textbook, it says Buston formula. So liters per minute is the quantity of water population in terms of thousands. Next one is to compensate for losses, theft and wastage of water, an allowance made. Is it 5% or 10%, 15%, 25%? Once again, in order to choose the correct answer, we need to look at actually what our codal provision says. It is 15%, my dear students. Okay, it is not taken by me. This is not my answer. It is not HNK answer. This is given actually in our codal provision. The water lost in leakage due to bad plumbing or damaged meters or stolen water, whatever it may be. Okay, everything is taken into consideration. So we need to reduce that. The best managed water was, this amount is usually 15% of the total consumption. So the right answer is 15%. Next one is the averaging is done for per capita water demand is over a period of time. Okay, is it 24 hours? The averaging for per capita demand, will it be taken in 24 hours or 1 year or 10 years or 35 years? So we need to understand what is that per capita demand. That is why I am giving you some explanation for the per capita demand. Okay, don't look at the answer. Look at the explanation. Per capita demand, how to define it? The definition says annual average. Answer is there here itself. Annual average amount of daily water required by one person. So per capita demand is calculated, whatever it may be, 270 LPCD or 330 LPCD. It is based on 1 year data. So they collect 1 year data and they go for annual average amount of daily water required by one person. That is why it is called as LPCD, liters per capita per day. So it is 1 year calculation. The per capita demand of water is calculated in terms of liters per person per year, per person per month, per person per day, peak hour consumption. Just now given you the answer. Per capita per day, per person per day. Capita or person or per head, one and the same. What is the peak factor of population above 2 lakh? Okay, this is a complex question. You need to know actually the various provisions made in the calculation of peak factor. So that is why I am giving you some comprehensive answer for this. Okay, there is a manual called as CPHEO manual, which is actually published in the year 1998, 99. Okay, Central Public Health and Environmental Engineering Organization. That is called as CPHEO. Okay, in that page number 361, okay, this tabular column is given. I extracted the same tabular column from CPHEO manual 1999. Okay, from the page number 361. Because if I am extracting any data from any manual in my presentation, I need to refer that because I should not copy as it is. Okay, it says, look at here, this arrow mark, above 2 lakh, it is 2.0. Okay, don't think otherwise. Always it is 2.0. As the population is less, please try to understand this. As the population is less, for 50,000 population, peak factor is 3.0. As the population increases, peak factor decreases. This is the assumption made in the peak factor calculation in our CPHEO manual. And also in the AWW, American Water Works Association 2004, it says as the population increases, peak factor decreases. The maximum peak factor should not be greater than 3.0. That is also one of the value given in both the manuals. Okay, but whenever the population, okay, now it is only 2 lakh. What about for Bangalore city with 1 crore 30 lakh? The same 2.0. Okay, for any metropolitan city, 2.0 is the peak factor. What is that peak factor? Answer is also there in my presentation. Ratio of the maximum flow during some specified time to the average flow. Okay, specified time. Is it on day basis or weekly basis or monthly basis or yearly basis? Okay, there is a separate formula for that. Okay, that also you can calculate. Peak factor, the ratio between MHD, maximum hourly demand, okay, and with respect to average hourly demand, maximum daily demand, average daily demand, maximum the yearly demand, okay, for maximum monthly demand, annual monthly demand. So like that actually we can able to calculate peak factor for different variations. Whereas for the population greater than 2 lakh, 2.0 is the peak factor. So the answer is D, 2.0. Okay, thank you very much. If there is any question, you can place it in the meeting chat. I will wait for another 1 minute. You can give me the feedback also about my presentation today in the meeting chat. I think you are all familiar with this. There is a meeting chat. Okay, you can give me the feedback, because feedback is very essential for us to improve our presentation. Okay, how far you are understanding actually the concept, because see here, this is nothing but only the basic concept. A lot of things are there in public health engineering. This is let me tell you, elementary session, the first introduction chapter. Okay, as I said earlier, it covers actually the introduction, the demand, and conveyance. Okay, only the first session. There are several sessions like this. Okay, this is the basic session. Okay, you can give me the feedback now also, or after some time, through any mode of for example, in our presentation, or in your meeting chat, or in our WhatsApp. Okay, thank you very much for joining this session. Okay, somebody said actually the presentation is good. Thank you very much for your comment. Okay, I am going to wind up actually my session now.